further ado, I would like you to help me welcome Dr. John Gray to the stage.
Well, it's really fun to be here. Do you all ski here too? Yes. This is like Lake Tahoe, where I live nearby. What a beautiful place. They told me there were lots of health food stores here. I said, well, people who understand the wisdom of beautiful places understand how to keep their bodies healthy. So in my awareness, that's a very important thing. What I see today is a huge catastrophe of health, which is happening. You know, when you hear these numbers like by the year 2020, I think that was it, 1/3 of every teenager at the age of 20 will be pre-diabetic. And we're just on this path of terrible health, which is happening today. In Stanford University, I live in the Bay Area, at Stanford University, 50% of the student body takes methamphetamines. I said methamphetamine so you know what it really is. It's called Adderall or Ritalin. Most parents are given these drugs by their doctors and they don't know that you're giving them methamphetamines. This is like crack cocaine. I mean, this is super speed. And the kids take it to compete, but they also take it because there's a rampant sickness today going on in a younger generation, and to a certain extent in all of us, but more so in the younger generation, where their brains are developing in this world that we're living in. And it's called ADD, ADHD. So how many of you heard of that? You're all aware of that. If you have children, you know children, you're all aware of it. Well, back in the early 90s, I became aware of it when I saw something that showed that 9 out of 10 kids in the classrooms, that 9 out of 10 kids who had ADD were boys. So I said, okay, I'm the expert on gender, so I have to research this. And so I did a lot of research on it, and finding out basically ADD is attention deficit disorder or hyperactive disorder, but attention deficit. And some of the 3 basic aspects of it are not being able to focus. And another one is feeling restless. And another one is feeling impulsive, say things you didn't mean to say or do things. And I thought, gee, that seems to happen every time my wife talks to me. I guess I'm ADD too. Then I realized every man I'd ever counseled was ADD. The women have been screaming this for the last 25 years. Although we didn't say ADD, women were saying their biggest complaint was men don't listen. Because you start talking and we go ADD. So this is something you have to accept about your husband. He's ADD. And you can't believe you're not listening. Well, now you know why. And it'd be fun to know exactly what causes that and what you can do about that. Now, you know, I see, I don't know, maybe 1/3 of the audience is older than me here tonight, which is old. And they may not have grown up with the AD generation, but they're what's called the low testosterone group. I'm talking about the guys for a little while. The average 40-year-old man today in the West has the testosterone levels at 40 years old. He has the testosterone levels of a 70-year-old man 30 years ago.
Wow.
This is a massive crisis. I was on a TV radio show the other night, and we had, I told them about one of my remedies for men's testosterone levels, and 500 women called up. My husband needs this. How do I get it to him? What is a symptom of low testosterone? See, everybody always thinks testosterone is this aggressive hormone. It's been misunderstood always. I started teaching about 25 years ago, but all I had to know is that, you know, when a man's interested in sex, his testosterone levels are up. So I always know that whenever I'm interested in sex, I'm the nicest guy in the world. I'll jump hoops for my wife. And then once I'm not interested, I'm off doing something else. But once that feeling starts happening, you got to go, okay, what do I have to do to get in there? They don't do anything. Once they get in, they're done for a while. Once their testosterone levels rebuild, they're ready for that again. So as they get old, that's right, you have to listen to them. It's like, and I'll tell you, any man that can listen to a woman and stay turned on is like Amazing. It's like one of these catch-22s. I'm supposed to listen to her. So I listen to her, I'm like turned on. I'm feeling bummed, ADD. So what's going on? Now I'm just going to make some jokes about all this and then give some practical solutions. And some of them I can't give in a 1 hour talk. I just, like here's one. Today women are under more stress than ever before in history. Okay, in just 15 years, women went from being happier than men to less happy than men. Women always used to be happier. Happy, 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 used to live longer, all these positive things. Now they're way more unhappy. And of course, when the woman's unhappy, the world is unhappy. And him. Nobody's happy. So we're really on a big decline here. And what we're seeing is our stress level. Stress is measured by the hormone cortisol. Who's familiar with that term, cortisol? Okay, it's a big term these days. Because we see that all of our health illnesses are all directly linked to cortisol. And I'll explain a little bit of that tonight. Way more of that's in the book. Much of the serious stuff I leave in the book, along with some fun stuff. So cortisol levels, if you look at these statistics, these are some research studies that have been done. And they did averages of thousands of women and thousands of men testing cortisol levels in the workplace. And what they found is that women's cortisol levels in the workplace were twice as high as men's. Then what they found is that when women came home, how many women know the rest of this story? It doubled again. Now the home, which should be the place that lowers all of our stress, is now the biggest source of stress for women. And for some men, they're stressed out at home, but only if their wife is stressed out. If you're somehow lucky and your wife's not stressed out, then you're sitting on the couch and you're happy. If your wife is stressed out, you're sitting on the couch and you're unhappy. Just want you to know, women, it doesn't change. He's sitting on the couch. Now I look at this, women can tell me all the reasons they're stressed out when they come home. And I'm going to explain it on a physical level as well, because you can measure this stuff. But psychologically, we hear stress. We go, okay, I got to come home. I got all these things to do. I have no time to do it. Dishes have to be done. Food has to be cooked. Kids have to be taken care of. Thank you notes have to be sent out. Somehow women will put that on that list too. They got all these things that have to be done. And they feel I have no time, and I have to do it, and there's no time, and your stress levels are going up, and then suddenly you look, he's sitting on the couch. And this pesky little thought comes up in your head. Why does he get to sit on the couch? Why is he sitting on the couch? Well, first of all, let's analyze that. Because if we can understand that answer. See, when you don't have an answer to something, you go crazy. It's like, let's say you're trying to get here tonight, and you don't know the address, and you're going around the block, and you're going around the block. They didn't even have a sign up outside saying John Gray here. So a lot of people still wandering around the block, getting all mad at each other, starting divorces tonight. He didn't get the number, he just thought there'd be a sign. There's no sign even. A secret meeting tonight. You're the lucky ones. So here you are with this question in your mind. Why is he sitting on that couch? And you have no answer that comes up that's going to make you feel good. Now I can't guarantee my answer is going to make you feel good. But at least it's going to be the truth, and it's not going to make you feel doubly bad. At least you know what the truth is. Because when you don't know the address, when you don't know what the answer is, your brain just goes wild. Wild. And when a woman's brain goes wild, scientific proof, it's 8 times more wild than a man's. You can see brain scans, you can measure blood flow now, all the universities do it. So let's answer the first thing is, why does he get to sit on the couch? As if somebody assigned him to the couch and you to do everything. Well, it's not like he's saying you can't sit on the couch. The problem is you can't sit on the couch. You don't have that ability to relax. You come home, if you were to sit on the couch, they've done brain scans of this. A man sits down, just this position, sitting down. Muscles relaxing, blood flow stops to his brain. Nothing is happening. This is real. We have slides to show this stuff, brain scans. Blank mind. She says, what are you thinking? Nothing. I knew it. He won't tell me. He's got secrets. He must be mad at me. He doesn't love me. Nothing is going on. If he can relax his muscles. He relaxes, nothing happens. And his stress levels, as soon as he sits, his stress levels start to go down. A woman sits, blood flow increases in her brain. We have the machine to show it, but you already know that. If you sit down and relax, you suddenly start thinking of all the things you have to do. And if you're sitting there, then your stress level goes up. So why is he sitting there? The first thing you have to know is he's coping with stress. He's wondering, why are you doing all this stuff? I mean, I like a beautiful house, but I'll sit on the couch first. A man could be going like, hey honey, this is another setting here. She wants to, they're going to have sex. It's, oh, we're going to have sex. Okay, and he's ready to run off to the bedroom and have sex. His wife says, wait, I've got to take this glass and go wash it. True story. Who would ever on Mars think of washing a glass if you could go have sex? But the woman, many things are going on in her brain at the same time. Way beyond a man's brain. There's just no, it's like massive hurricanes happening up in her brain when she's upset. Here's the thing that got me in half of my talk tonight, and we're going to do some question and answers at the end, is also on how nutrition affects relationships, or the absence of nutrition. And what we eat in our diet, which is the big reason we're going to get to why we have so much ADD today, one of the two reasons. But the bottom line is that we eat lots of carbohydrates. Okay? Whenever you're stressed or bored, what do you eat? Chocolate, that's the period one, but that's chocolate, and then there's ice cream, and there's cookies, and there's chips, and if you're healthier, it's rice. It's still the same thing. What do you say to your kids when they're going crazy? Have some toasts. Bread, it goes right into carbohydrate, and put some jam on top of it. So all this stuff causes your blood sugar levels to shoot up. Makes the brain produce lots of feel-good brain chemicals, and then your blood sugar shoots down, and then you have no brain chemicals. So this is what happens to women. A guy could be driving on a trip, like driving from Vancouver to Kelowna. You're driving along, and your wife says to you, and I'm going to say this up front in the talk, so man, this is one thing you have to remember from tonight's talk, okay? You'll remember one thing, that's all their brain can do. This is a good beginning for them. You're driving along, and she says, oh, honey, maybe we should stop and find a restaurant. And the guy goes, okay, yeah, once we get there, I'll look around. He's like all casual about it. And then she'll hit again, maybe we can find something before. Oh, all right, we'll look. But he's thinking, well, first let's get to our goal. See, they want to get to the goal always, to this point, then to the next point. One thing at a time. We're going to Kelowna. We're not talking about restaurants yet. Now we'll look for restaurants. Well, what you have to know, men, is that when a woman hints about food, restaurants, this is a code blue alert. With a hungry woman, we're talking Venus on fire, okay? The brain will just totally speed up, because what happens when blood sugar levels drop, now there's no fuel for the brain to make a brain chemical called serotonin. When the brain can't make serotonin to keep her calm, if she's hungry, that blood sugar level has dropped. The difference between men and women is, for women, they can be going along here, blood sugar fine, making brain chemicals. It drops very suddenly with no warning. They have no warning at all. Just suddenly they're... Who is this guy? Because when there's no fuel for the brain to make serotonin to keep your brain calm, and stress levels are increasing, the way he drives for sure, and stress levels are increasing, you can look at her brain, and when a woman has a drop in blood sugar, she will have 8 times more blood flow to the emotional part of the brain, which all goes to the hippocampus, which is the emotional memory, which is twice as big in women than men. And when it goes and activates that memory, it activates an acute full-blown color, three-dimensional, 3D memory of every mistake you've ever made. Technicolor, the whole thing. It's like right in her face. She's looking at you, looking at that, looking at you, looking at that. And she has complete amnesia of any good thing you've ever done. And you know, it's a funny joke. This is real. I counsel women. I say to them sometimes, well, what good does he do? Nothing. Hasn't he ever done anything? No. What do you trust him for? No way. Let's talk about trust. Women, first we'll do a gender intelligence test. It's always good to test our skills, okay? So who knows? This is one of the gender intelligence things we figured out in science. Who has a better memory? Women or men? Women. Raise your hand if it's women. You're right. So next time your husband forgets something, instead of saying, why did he forget? You now know. Men cannot remember things the way you do. I remember this woman came to me for counseling and she's so upset. She's like, my husband promised me he would be here. He's always late when there's something important. I can't believe it. Once again, he's late. How long has he had this pattern? Since I met him. And you still can't believe it? From now on, you should expect, if he says if it's important, he's going to be late. That's just who he is. Why get upset about it? That's who he is. That's who men are. See, when men are under stress, see, when you're under stress, you have a better memory. And you remember all the things you said you were going to do. And you get, oh, I said this, I have to do this. The more stressed you are, the more you have to do it. Men are just the opposite. When a man's under stress, he forgets everything he's supposed to do. He focuses on one thing and forgets everything else. And you're wondering, why did he forget to bring the milk for the third time? Because he's coming home coping with the stress of his day. How do men cope with the stress of their day? On Mars, simple formula. If there's nothing you can do to solve the big stuff, all the problems. Let me back up one step. See, the way men feel good is solving problems. They like to solve problems, solve problems, solve problems. Of course, it destroys their marriages because every time their wife talks, don't talk, honey. He wants to solve that problem. If you're unhappy, don't be unhappy. And he gives you 50 reasons you shouldn't be unhappy, thinking he's solving the problem, but really he's pouring gasoline on a fire. It's just getting worse. But on his planet, on Mars, if you solve problems all day long and you're good at solving problems and you feel confident you're good at what you're doing, your stress levels stay very low. If you can't do anything, then you're off the chart. But if you've developed a skill, you have confidence, you know what you're doing, you have a job, so you're solving problems, you feel great. Then at the end of the day, you can't do anything about those problems. So now you got problems you can't do anything about. So if you're a man, what do you do to cope with that stress?
Nothing.
You have to forget them. We're the masters of forgetting problems. So on Mars, if you can't do something about it, forget it. How many times did a guy make the mistake of telling his wife, honey, just forget it? He thinks he's helping. But now we know she can't forget it. The more stressed she is, the more she remembers every mistake you've ever made and every problem she has. And she creates new problems by feeling, I have to do everything I said I'm going to do. And this is the world that women live in today. The more stressed you are. And I remember what I said a few minutes ago, women's stress levels are twice as high as men's. 4 times as high as a man's in the home. This is like crazy making. So what do we see in our relationships today? Statistics. Since 1969, marriage went from 10% to 50% in 1 year. And it stayed there. And why did it go? Why did something happen so quickly? They invented something called no-fault divorce. As no-fault divorce spread around, divorces dramatically increased. In that 1 year, divorce went from 10% to 50% and has stayed there. And who initiated over 90% of those divorces? unhappy women. They said, now that I don't have to drag out the laundry in a court, embarrass my family and myself, and him bringing out the laundry from his side, I want a divorce. When I was in Bali, they never have divorces in Bali because they live in these little communities of 100 families. They're each units. And if you want a divorce, you have to go before 100 families and tell them your problems and have them give you advice. So who wants that? So they'd rather just... But they say to me, they told me the real problems are between the wife and the mother of the husband.
Of course.
And they have to be in this one kitchen. They live in these compounds, and one kitchen, a lot of tension. So the way they cure that problem, they build another kitchen for the new wife, and all their problems go away. She needs her domain. She needs to be in charge of her life. Everybody needs to be in charge of their life. Women need to feel in control of their life. Men need to feel in control of their life. And then there's this place where men give up control temporarily if it makes you happy. So men will do anything to make you happy. But then they got to come back. And you can see this in terms of hormones. When men are solving problems, they're using up their testosterone. Their testosterone levels drop. Then they have to rebuild their testosterone. And how do you rebuild testosterone? Forget all your problems. This is on Mars. If you can't do something about it, forget it. Now, what do they have the formula on Venus? If there's nothing you can do about it, then at least we can talk about it. If there's nothing we can do about it, there's all these problems in our life, then at least we can talk about it. And he says, why are you talking about it? It's not a big deal. And she said, I didn't say it was a big deal. Well, if it's not a big deal, why do we have to talk about it? Why can't we talk about it? Well, you said you feel like you do everything. Yeah? Well, if you say you do everything, that means I do nothing. I'm not talking about you, I'm just sharing. Why does everything I say have to be about you? You're talking to me. You said you do everything. That means I do nothing. She said, I did not say that. I'm not even thinking about you right now. Why does everything have to be about you? So when that conversation happened, I went off to my cave to figure that out. It did not make any sense to me. But I came back to the realization that if two women were talking together and one said, I feel like I do everything, the other woman would not see a problem with that. She just nod her head and say, yes, me too. There's no contradiction. The whole world is women who do everything. They know that. So there's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of not understanding, and then we have to come back to this new issue, which is her wondering, why is he sitting on that couch? Why does he get to? We covered that one because he's designed to do it. I did not design it. Don't get mad at me. Now let's look at that design a little deeper. For men to be healthy, they need 30 times more testosterone than a woman. 30 times more. You get your testosterone tested, he needs to have 30 times more than her. Otherwise, he's what's called low testosterone, which is most men over 40. Low testosterone, average. Symptoms of that is moodiness, irritability, waking up in the night, even hot sweats for some men. A lot of the menopausal stuff starts in men around 35. It's just real slow. Real slow. For women, it's like blood sugar dropped. She's menopausal. Okay, it just happens fast. And that is, there's two times where people get the most divorce. It's when a woman turns 28, right around that time. I just saw a woman go, what? That was it? Okay, around that time, 29, 28, around that time. Because that's where you start to, your brain actually solidifies and you realize that, hey, I got a life too, and I've been giving my life away for somebody else. So you suddenly go, I'm not going to live by somebody else's rules and make my own. Then the next one's menopause. They call it empty nest syndrome, but it's menopause. Menopause, literally, she's Venus on fire, her brain is constantly overactive, and she can't remember why she married this guy. She doesn't see anything good about him. She says, why do I have to live with him the rest of my life? She literally cannot remember. And part of why she can't remember is because women, you never fall in love with the man anyway. You fall in love with his potential. And thank goodness, no man would ever get a woman. I mean, it's hysterically funny, but it is true. You do not see the man you're marrying. He is some kind of altered state that you're in, which is called your heart is open and you're feeling love. Love allows us to see the good in something. My wife gets her little seeds and puts them in the ground, and she's so excited. Look at my little seeds. And then they're sprouting in the little areas. Look at the little sprouts. What is nothing? What's that? Nothing. She's so excited, but I keep watering it, and watering it's going to come something wonderful. They have that awareness. They see the potential of things. When their heart is open, they see our potential. And that's this great gift. The problem today is that when women are stressed, and they're so stressed today, their heart closes down. They can't see his potential. And when you can't see his potential, all you do is you have this huge memory of every inadequacy of this guy, every destroyed illusion that you have. Every hope and dream comes crashing down, and you wake up, this is the guy I married? And then you come to a counseling session with me, and I watched that. I thought all women were crazy. It's not that I don't think that now, but I'll pull that on pause. It's funny. They come to me and they tell me all these terrible things about their life and their relationship and what's going on, and they leave happy. They leave happy. Nothing has been solved. Nothing has been resolved. And they leave happy. And they come back the next week and they have all the same problems. What happened? And then I listen to them, and I'm very good at listening and asking questions and never giving solutions. See, what I learned, man, is if you want to be a high-paid therapist, or a happy husband, one or the other, you learn to keep your mouth closed. Nod your head. As if you're thinking about what they're saying.
That's bad.
And then she asks you questions. That's the hard one. She says, well, what do you think? Every cell in your body wants to say something like, don't be upset. It's not a problem. I'll handle it, whatever. Don't speak. Don't speak, she says. So what do you think? Strain. And she said, give me some words, give me some words. So we work hard at that. I don't know what to say. Those are words, see? You can say something. See, everybody's always asking me, a woman's upset with you, what do you say? I spent years trying to figure out, what do you say when she's upset with you? Finally, I realized there is no answer. You can't say anything that will make her feel better. See, the thing about with guys, it's real simple. If a guy's upset with me, I say, okay, I'm sorry, it was my mistake, I'm wrong. Guy go, okay, you're wrong, I'm right, all right, we walk away friends. Isn't that right? If I admit I'm the wrong way, you're up, okay, you're wrong, I'm right, okay. We got that clear. Right, wrong. You say to your honey, I'm so sorry, honey, it's my fault, I did the wrong thing, I feel bad. Not bad enough. Not bad enough. I'm trying to feel bad. And now how long do I have to feel bad? I don't know. We'll see. Well, it helps when we have a little bit of the brain stuff going on, which is that for a woman, when she's upset about something, she's 8 times more upset about it than a man. Now, I couldn't say this when I wrote Men Are From Mars. I'd be called a sexist. Now I can say it. It's in the brain scans. Women are way more emotional than men about little things. Men are emotional when it's a big thing and there's nothing they can do about it. So men get emotional when their stress levels are shooting up high. Women get emotional with little stress levels. Little stress level. Oh my God, look at this, look at that. Always wondering what is going on. My wife answers the phone. She goes, she never says the name of the person because I'm listening. Who is this person she's talking to? Oh no! Oh! 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 What? I can't believe it! Really? It's like steroids. I mean, their brains just boop, 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 boop. And you can see this in a brain scan. I loved it. Nobody talks about this because it's so politically incorrect. It was in Scientific American in 1996, and the feminists hate me for popularizing this because they want to say that men and women are the same. They're not. We are worlds apart. So this is how it looks. I want you to remember this because it is the biggest problem between men and women. This dynamic I'm about to explain, which is there's this fight or flight center in the brain, amygdala. The amygdala, when there's danger, the amygdala releases dopamine. It allows you to run away fast or do something. It causes a whole cascade of different reactions. So the amygdala sends a message, you've got to do something. If you're a man, the wiring in a man's brain, there's a huge clump of wiring that goes from the amygdala to the action part of the brain and to the visual part of the brain. So literally, we're designed to take action or look for some place to run and take action away. Visual stimulation and taking action releases this brain chemical called dopamine that rewards them, makes them feel good. Makes women feel good, makes everybody feel good, dopamine. Okay, so the wiring in a man's brain goes from amygdala to action. In a woman's brain, the amygdala is half the size. And it becomes stimulated by little problems, which what we call, the studies have called, moderate stress. Under moderate stress, her amygdala is sending out all of this excitement in her brain, and she has 8 times more blood flow in the emotional part of the brain. But if you ask her, are you upset? No, just a few problems here. She's saying it's not a big deal. For a man to experience that much blood flow in the emotional part of the brain, it has to be a disaster. He's being chased by an animal, doesn't know where to hide. He's just been fired, someone died, a huge terrible problem happens, then men have a lot of blood flow going to the action part of the brain, still not to the emotional part of the brain. He wants to take action. And if there's nothing he can do and the problem is too big to forget because it's right in his face, and he can't forget it, then he feels powerless to do something about it. His stress levels shoot up really high, and his brain becomes like a woman's brain under moderate stress. This is like first of all, see how we're like complement each other? He's outstanding guard. I can't be worried about ants. I'm looking for the tiger. I can't worry if it's cold outside. I can't whimper and cry. I can't do anything. I got to focus on one thing. Listen, look, stay quiet. And I'm waiting for that one thing. Focus on that one thing. Because men do the big dangerous stuff for thousands of years. Women, you can't complain about this. Why do you think men do the big dangerous stuff? Because when they do, they come home and you put out big time. I was just watching the TV show Glee. Anybody seen that? A really cute show. So in Glee, to keep a long story short, one of the kids is protecting another kid and he gets punched in the face. So he's got a big black eye. And his girlfriend, who wouldn't go steady with him, goes, "You did that for him?" Yeah. She put out. That's all it took. He was willing to do that in a noble cause. So men have been doing forever. We go out and do all the dirty jobs, the dangerous jobs, the risky jobs. How do we get to do it? Women's brainwashing. It's good brainwashing. I'm not complaining. what was it? Smart. Women are smart, smart, smart. They said, if you go out there, when you come home, there's going to be a statue erected in your honor. I hear feminists saying, look at all the world. There's no statues of women. If there were statues of women, we'd be sending you out there. Women were smart. They said, oh, no, he's the guy. Put a statue for him. And next time there's a war, you go out. Next time there's a dispute with the neighbors, you go out. Next time the kids are really going crazy, well, you go take care of them. They're yours. But we like that. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. That's what we are. We are the heroes. We want to be the hero. You can't be a hero today. We're looking for it. We don't know where to find it. And we're all ADD. We want to feel like we did something that makes her happy. The bottom line of what makes men and women happy, a woman wants a man with a plan. He's out there, he's going to do something, accomplish something. He's not just sitting there on that couch, which drives her temperature up higher and higher and higher, which we're going to get to, and I'm just doing foreplay on it. Why is he sitting on that couch? I can't tell you how to get him off the couch tonight. That's why you read my book. The best sell thing I ever came up with in my life. I did that last talk I gave. Everybody bought the book. So I can't tell you how to get him off the couch. The book does that. But even if you don't buy the book, just knowing why he's sitting on that couch, having that answer means you know the address, you're not lost, you know what's going on, your brain doesn't get all excited. Why does your brain get so excited? Because you don't have a body like his that sits there, relaxes, and you think, why is he doing it? Does he expect me to be his servant? Am I just a servant to him? Or doesn't he see what I'm doing? I'm making lots of noises. What's going on? And unfortunately, women, you make a lot of noises, we don't understand what you mean. If a man makes noises, it means run. She makes noises, it means, hey, notice me, give me some help. You didn't know that, you're making noises. I remember one day my wife was making a lot of noises, so I said, okay. She said, where are you going? Yeah, I'm just going to go for a drive. Where? I don't know, sometimes I like to just go for a drive. Do you see what I'm going through with these kids right now? I said, I heard. And now you decide to go for a drive? Yes. I can't believe you. Now I'm going to say something here. I don't recommend men to say it. Okay, see, I've been through a learning curve. Been married 27 years. I got lots of lessons I'm sharing with you very quickly. This you don't say, but we can learn from it. So I looked at her and I said, honey, you look at me like I'm this awful guy because I want to go for a drive right now. And she says, yes. Which, by the way, women, is what you do when you're upset. You just eyes. You just look at us. As if somehow we're going to hear you. I promise you, if you want a guy to listen, look the other direction. Well, honey, what I like is, would you do this for me? You try this, you'll see. Ask a guy to do something, not looking at him, and he'll do it. Now, I'm not going to tell you too many secrets because I want you to read the book. That's an easy one. But you can't say stuff like, hey, honey, would you like to go out to dinner tonight? No, I'd rather just stay here on the couch and have you make me dinner. I can't believe how selfish he is. But you asked him what he'd like. You have to tell him what you'd like. She doesn't think that way. Against the law to say what you like on Venus. And then you got to be real clear. You got to be very direct with these guys. So anyway, I'm walking out the door and she says, that whole thing I just said. So then I said to her, look, honey, you're looking at me like I'm this bad guy. But I'm not. I love you. You're the most precious, special being in the world. You're my soulmate. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. 80% of the time. And 20% of the time, I just want to go for a drive. Is there anything wrong with that? She goes, I can't believe you. That makes no sense to me at all. I hate you. I didn't expect that. That's why I tell you men don't ever say this. But then I did my comeback, which you definitely don't do. I said, honey, if we turn this around, this is why it doesn't make sense to me. If you said to me, I would take it as a compliment. If you said, John, you're my soulmate, I adore you, I love you, you're my hero, I dream of you, 70% of the time. 30% of the time, you are just the biggest asshole. Every man in this room would feel liberated if you said that. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. This John Gray book works, you know? I like this stuff. Because for a man, if she said that to me, I go, okay. Permission to be an asshole. 30% of the time. There's a lot of wisdom in that story, okay? I developed almost a lot of my Mars Venus material from that story, because what I learned from that is I was giving to Bonnie what I would want. Yeah. And she wanted something completely different, something that I could care less about, which is when I'm upset and bothered about something, I want to keep it within myself and mull it over. I don't have any need for her to come knocking on my door and say, what's the matter, John? I don't know what you're feeling. What are you thinking? What's going on inside? And even if I decided to answer that because somebody asked you a question, maybe, okay, I'll tell them. You tell them once. Because once you give her any information, she'll spend the next 10 years telling you how to solve that problem. Reminding you, this, you might get that. You do this, you might get that. She doesn't forget. She remembers everything. We're just in the process of forgetting, and you're going to keep reminding us again and again and again. So men want to keep this stuff in, but it also is important to men to keep it in. What the key for men, but finish that other story. What she was needing is not what I was needing. What I want if I'm upset, just ignore me. Leave me alone. Go off and be happy. Do something nice. Don't try to fix me. Don't try to change me. Just like women, you don't want a man to tell you how you should feel, to fix your feelings and tell you you shouldn't feel that way. A man doesn't want you telling him what he should do to help him. He wants to just be, leave me alone, I'll do it myself, I'm off on my own. That's called acceptance. He's in a bad mood, ignore him. And by the way, testosterone is not the bad guy. I didn't finish that point earlier. Testosterone is the good guy. It's estrogen, the female hormone, which makes men violent. It's when testosterone drops, he's got this high estrogen, which goes, you hurt my feelings. Then he wants to hurt back. This is where the worst of men happens. We train men to be estrogen-oriented. Unfortunately, we feed them meat and chicken, which all has estrogen in it. Men getting the boobs and everything like that. More importantly, it's the low testosterone that's resorting, the high estrogen levels. We all have it. And I know even some women are going, no, I need to take my estrogen. No, you don't. You need to lower your stress to make more progesterone. Something called estrogen dominance, which means your estrogen levels, no matter how high they are, they fluctuate throughout your whole life. They don't have to produce bad symptoms if you have the right balance of estrogen and progesterone. Then I go, no, if I say that, then people are going to go put progesterone cream on them. No, you want to get your body making these hormones. Our body's been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. We didn't have these hormone replacement things. We didn't have these drugs before. People managed quite wonderfully. I'm not putting down medical medicine, or medical people, unless they intrude on me, okay? If I break an arm, if I'm in a car accident for emergency care, thank God for those hospitals and what they can provide. And then thank God for the health care policies that will pay those unbelievable fees, because we can't do it. So that's a great thing. That's called emergency care. It should be maybe 5% of the big health care program, right? Well, our health care is 95% is emergency care and 5% is prevention and natural health. Not even prevention. Prevention is anticipating sickness. How about just learning to be healthy? How do you be healthy? We don't know in our society how to be healthy, and our children are the ones who are suffering the most, because all of you, particularly the ones older than me, grew up at a time when the world wasn't as unhealthy. I still remember the day when I was like, where are the convenience stores? I need a Coke. They didn't have Cokes around. You know, had to drive long distance, find a Coke machine, get that Coke machine. Then suddenly the convenience store's everywhere. The drug is everywhere. And what's that drug? Sugar. Sugar is the one of two causes. One of two, but I'm excited. So the number one cause of ADD, ADHD. I never finished that other point. This is my ADD talk here. I'll come back to that point, but I got to make this other point here. What does my wife need at the time when she's upset? What does she need from me? Whether she knows it or not, what she needs from me is understanding. She wants somebody to understand what she's going through. No judgment and understanding. What do I want when I'm going through something? I don't care about you to understand, just no judgment. That's acceptance. Acceptance. This is your most powerful tool, women, to manipulate men to do whatever you want. It sounds so negative, doesn't it? But it's what you do all the time. Every woman that's ever come to me for counseling, the conversation always goes in the direction of, how can I change him? How can we get him to change? It's always, what can we do to change? Sometimes I get caught up in it. Well, you can say this and do this and whatever would change it. Forget it. Every time you try to change a man, you put a wall up. He resists completely. It's like his hand here, you're trying to change him. And yet your nature is to improve. You see the potential. But to improve does not mean to change. To improve is, you got the little seed, it's a little pear tree seed. I guess we didn't start from seed there, but we don't do it anyway. She does it all, but it's a strawberry seed. So she's got a strawberry seed. She waters and nurtures that little strawberry seed and puts it in the right place where the sun shines and the air and all the things it needs in the soil, the minerals and so forth. She doesn't go, but I don't want it to be a strawberry seed, then you should be some other kind of seed. That's called changing. So you got to just learn to accept what you got. Not much. But you got potential. Everything is potential. This is what life is about, is what's the potential here. And when your heart is open, you see that little seed, a beautiful strawberry bush. Little bushes all around. You're so excited about that. This is when women get married, they go, okay, now I love him, he loves me, I can change him. You're not really changing him, your being is, I can improve him. He'll become better with me. She knows that because she sees you alone, goes, oh, he needs help. Women have this gene, men do not have it. They found a gene, it's a nurturing gene. We can call it nurturing, and we can call it that, but I put another label on it. That little gene is called the Home Improvement Committee. They all get together. How can we make this home more beautiful? How can we make our children more wonderful? How can we take care of everybody? Improve, 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 improve. Oh, I love this man. Everything gets focused on him. And how can I improve him? And this is the downfall of relationships, is women don't know the difference between improve and change. How can you improve somebody? Nurture them. You're the best nurturers in the world. You can bring out the best in any man. This is such hope for mothers of teenage boys. You go, my God, this guy's a slob. And then I say, wait until he gets a girlfriend. He'll start cleaning up, washing his underwear, all kinds of stuff, you know? Women transform men. They are the transforming power. The love is the healing power. You are the love. Men do anything for love. Everything. You know, women say, well, if men need love so much and love's so important for them, why don't they buy relationship books on love? I said, they do. Go in any bookstore. Men are buying all these books on relationship that are for men skills. It's called the business section. How do you make money? Because if you do not make money, you do not get woman. That is a reality. I remember teaching one of my classes at Stanford. These young feminist girls off to the side. And I was like, when you fall in love with a man, you call home to your mother, what's the first thing she's going to ask you? And she says, is he a nice man? Does he love you? Does he care? This is woman saying, and I said, no, that's not what she's going to say, sorry. She's going to say, what does he do?
Yes.
Of course it's what does he do. And you have no business marrying a guy who doesn't know what he does. He has to do something. This is what men are about. He'll be stressed out of his mind if men can't do something. They need to do something for a noble cause. Money makes you empty. Why is it about making money? Because we know if we have money, we can put a smile on your face. A man with a plan, a woman with a smile. The whole secret of relationships right there. Anytime you can move, men, it will make your wife happy. She sees me going across the house. What are you doing? I've got a plan. I've got a project. She loves it. I tell you, we had the best sex one time. One of our phones was out in the garden. It got rain and it got mud in it. And she saw me. I took the longest time disassembling this phone and cleaning every little part in the phone, putting it back together. She said, it was so exciting to see you do that. She'd come back to look. You did this. You did this. Yes. Now, I took it all seriously. What I didn't realize at the time, she was training me. It's a nicer way of saying manipulating me. Training. This is a new concept for many women, so I want you to understand. People ask me, John, you've married all these years. You know, was it the Men Are From Mars material that made your marriage so wonderful? I adore my wife. We have a wonderful relationship. She is my soulmate. I can't imagine anything that I would want to do more than be married to this woman. I love coming home to her. I go nuts if I was with her all the time, but I like to go away and come back to her. This is our relationship. I adore her, love her, miss her, I'm there with her. Have to get out after a little while. And I feel very conscious and aware of saying that, because men have done that for thousands of years. This is the balance between men and women. When men are around women for too long, women go nuts. They start pushing you away. See, the big thing that's happening now is men are becoming feminized. They're reading other people's books besides mine. So they learn phrases like, I feel hurt when.
That's
I used to do this 30 years ago, because that's what we were taught to do, teach men how to open up. I feel hurt when. Women would come back a month later and say, I'm just not turned on to him anymore. I said, why? I thought we were making progress. Well, we were. He's opening up, but when I married him, I didn't realize he was so sensitive. I feel like I have to walk on eggshells all the time. I liked him better before. One woman said, this is great, when this really came out of a woman's mouth. She says, you know, when I married him, I didn't realize he had so many problems. You're paying his therapist all this money, and so she talks, you're supposed to talk. So I'm asking you a question. How do you feel about that? Well, nothing. No, there's something there. I don't know. Well, what is it? Yeah, not a big deal. Well, it's a big deal to me. That's what I get paid for. Tell me some more. Let's get those feelings out. And then he starts saying, well, I'm pissed off. What are you pissed off about? I'm angry what she said. See, I told you. He can't listen to me. He gets mad. That's what happens. I talk to him and get mad. I knew it. I knew that was going on. It wasn't going on. I just thought you were nuts. That's all. But I still love you. So, you know, I mean, there's some good therapists out there, a few. I've just seen so many people have, this is where I say from this. Because somebody called in a radio show the other day and said, are you saying people shouldn't see therapists because they're no good? I'm saying that there's some good therapists. But most of them are trained in how to feminize a man. And when you feminize a man, you ruin a relationship. It happens. So what's happening? What does it mean to feminize a man? It means to expect him to be like your girlfriend.
Yes.
And to be unhappy when he's not your girlfriend. See, two girls will come home. No one doesn't sit on the couch while the other one makes dinner. Trick to that, didn't I? I was with me and I pulled that one in. See, two girls, women get together. It's like we just had Thanksgiving dinner. And we're having this big dinner. My wife goes in the kitchen and starts, oh, no, don't do that. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Don't do that. They have this big argument. Don't do this. Don't do this. They're all helping. They'll keep helping. They'll do it all together. If one of them said to me, don't do that, okay, no problem. I can sit down and turn on the television guilt-free. As long as you don't look at me.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
They look at me. Not saying anything. I'm looking. You know, that old saying, the evil eye. Where'd that come from? And then you look. I'm telling you, don't look at a guy. If you want him to talk to you, look away. Okay. You look at him, he's like, what is she? I can't think.
I can't think.
Our brain just freezes, like the way computers freeze. She's looking at me. We're terrified at some level. We don't know it. Because the brain stops. Our brain stops when we look at us like that. If we imagine or perceive any judgment happening at that time. And of course, that's when you look at us the most. Or that's often when women say, what are you feeling? It's when we're pulling away. That's when he doesn't have any feeling. That's why he's pulling away. See, this is a nice little balance to understand. It's a dance between men and women. This is such a good talk, having so much fun, to realize that's when I go on too long. I'll take a moment, take some water, slow down. Watch this, I'm going to show you a real trick. That's good. Now I'm going to take one of my products. This is called product placement. Just happen to have one on stage. This is called Vital Elements. It is the absence of what's inside of these pills that causes so much problems in our life. The absence of. Is it the absence of drugs? No. It's the absence of minerals. Every time your brain does anything, it needs a mineral. See, the way the body works, real simple way, since we're talking men and women, minerals are the men. Enzymes are the women. Enzymes do everything. Everything in the body is done by enzymes. If there are no enzymes, nothing gets done. It's all very sluggish. It's like making a baby. The woman does the whole thing, except that 2 minutes. You need a man for 2 minutes. And then you might be lucky. 2 minutes. Now you got a baby. Got 9 months, the rest of your life. She'll be thinking about that baby always. All it took him is 2 minutes. That's the mineral. Nobody really knows what the minerals, how they do it. But enzymes cannot function without what's called a cofactor. Minerals are the cofactor. So let's say you have Alzheimer's. What they found is people who have Alzheimer's don't have any selenium in their brain. Well, then we could assume that maybe if you had more selenium, you wouldn't get Alzheimer's. Maybe. Because people who have selenium in their brain don't have Alzheimer's. So that was an interesting observation. Then they found selenium helps pull iron out of the brain and heavy metals. Which, by the way, lead out of the brain, not iron, lead. Did you know that if you do a bone scan of all of us, we have lead in our bones? Where did that come from? Well, your mother. Where did hers come from? Her mother. And where did that all start? It was the fall of the Roman Empire and other places where they started using lead pipes for the water to go through. There was lead poisoning that caused the whole thing to go down. Very simplistic answer, but go back and look at the bones of the people who lived, because they got these, I've been in them, those catacombs, and you see all the graves, they're all buried underground. They went in and they scanned the bones of people prior to the fall of the Roman Empire, and they had no lead in their bones. And now we all have lead in our bones. It just gets passed on again and again and again, and the lead gets released. How do you get it out of your body? Well, if you don't have selenium, you can't. That's one of the minerals. Those are like 70 minerals. Magnesium. You can't have a bowel movement without magnesium. Women have their period, they lose a lot of their magnesium. Then they're constipated for 28 days. Talk about holding on. Regular magnesium calms the brain. Magnesium activates your thyroid gland, so you may have a healthy metabolism, so you have plenty of energy without magnesium. Then there's all kinds of magnesium you can buy, and there's a magnesium in here you can't buy in the stores. It's called, all these minerals, I bond them, or many of them, I bond with uric acid. Uric acid is something that's in mother's milk. When the brain is developing in the child, you have to have lots of this uric acid to deliver the minerals into the brain. So it's called delivery system. So you can have enzymes, you have cofactors, but you've got to deliver the minerals you need the car to get it there. What is your delivery system? So you have magnesium citrate, or various gluconate and various things at the end of it. But what is the mineral bonded to? You have to have the delivery system. Well, the delivery system for these minerals has shown in various research studies that when you bond it to uric acid, it crosses the blood-brain barrier and brings those minerals into your brain. Because this is for sure what happens. I only talk about one. I'll talk about a few more. As soon as you eat carbohydrates, you're stressed out, you go eat some carbohydrates, it makes a bunch of brain chemicals, you feel good for a few moments, your blood sugar drops again. Every time you eat carbohydrates, you can measure urine afterwards and see a huge increased amount of minerals coming out of your body. Our children are all mineral deficient. We, as the older generation, have a lot more minerals stored in our body because we didn't grow up our whole life getting rid of the minerals that we basically got passed on. And the food today, UCLA, University of California, in LA, this study's been done all over the place, but I mentioned that one because it's very reputable. They did a study just 20 years ago. They said, okay, what are the minerals in a head of spinach? And now let's look at the minerals in a head of spinach today. To get the same amount of minerals in a head of spinach today, I'd have to have 5 heads of spinach. So you eat your meals and you wonder why your body's saying, eat more, eat more, eat more. It says something's missing, I need more. Your body's not stupid. We're making the mistake of feeding ourselves food without minerals. Minerals are the secret. Where do you hear this anywhere? I've heard so many talks on ADD, read books. It's like I've seen it over and over, just taking minerals. My men, I teach them a few lessons, can relax and listen to their wives. Maximum 10 minutes. A realistic limit. And you want to tell them, we're only going to take 10 minutes. That's another secret, women. You want a man to listen? Give him a time limit. I know this is tough. This is hard work. And I appreciate it. We'll talk for 10 minutes. It won't go any further, and I promise you. If you don't say anything, I'll feel better. Just take that in. Let it ripple through all your resistance and confusion and what would happen if, and that doesn't sound right. Well, of course. Because you have this idea he's your girlfriend. And if you talk, he's supposed to talk. And as a matter of fact, the rules on Venus for girlfriends is you're not allowed to talk first. I'm Carol, you're Jane. I have a lot to tell. I want to talk. I want to talk about my life, update. I feel good doing that. But I can't just go, Jane, I want to tell you about my life. Just listen. Don't say anything. That's all I need. You'll hate me. I go to jail on Venus. No such thing as a one-sided conversation. And I learned this. I have 3 daughters. I'd hear them calling. They'd talk to a friend. They get off the phone. They say, I can't believe her. She just talked and talked and talked. She didn't ask me anything about my life. I don't know if I can answer the phone next time when I see her number. I'm going, I would never feel that way if a guy just came and called me up and talked. Didn't ask me anything about my life. I go, good, I don't want to talk. If I want to give details, I will. If I don't, I won't. I don't need somebody to ask me. But women got all kinds of rules with this. So the last thing you would think as a solution to the dilemma of men don't listen, it's one of the solutions. It's one of them. Don't you think it's all just that? Otherwise, it's too simple. It's a lot of little simple things over and over in practice. But at least you get this basic idea. Men don't mind a one-way conversation. We think you're a little crazy at first. But after a while, we go, okay, if she likes this, I'll do it. Okay? It's just, we'll do anything if we see it works. It's like here's part of training a man. You're walking along, go slow so he gets there first. Opens the door, then scoot through and go, oh, thank you, you're such a gentleman. Yes, I'm quite the guy. I didn't think of doing that, but take my pill here. So I'm taking a pill. And really, it's kind of against taking pills if they're drugs. Why? Because drugs all have negative side effects. That's why they're called drugs. Every drug has a negative side effect. And if they have a really bad negative side effect, then a doctor has to prescribe it because it's so dangerous. That's why you pay them the money for their health insurance. Doctors will say, they agree with this, the #1 killer in the world is side effects of drugs. That's if you combine side effects of drugs along with mistakes they make in the hospital dispensing drugs. Okay, so you got hospital deaths plus people taking their drugs. Add those two together, #1 killer on the planet. And these are not improperly prescribed drugs. These are properly prescribed drugs, is what they say. And they're saying that because if you die, you can't sue me because that was properly prescribed. That's why you come to a doctor. I evaluate the risk versus the benefit. There's always a risk, there's always a benefit. If it can get, yeah, and there's logic to that. I mean, if it can get me alive for another week, great. You know, instead of dying today, give me a headache and let me live a week. Okay, so there's some logic there. And it's fine. But just know that if you're getting a prescribed drug, it's prescribed because it's dangerous and it has side effects. And if it's over-the-counter drugstore stuff, chemicals, it's called drugstore stuff, it all has side effects, but it won't kill you right away. It's given to you in small doses. Everybody knows we take this, if you go to the store and buy Tylenol, half a bottle of Tylenol will kill you. Right there on the stuff, death. Why don't they say that? They won't tell you the exact number. I won't say it either. The exact number of Tylenol that will kill most people is if they would put that on there, then people would know how to kill themselves. Great logic.
They know anyway.
A bottle of potassium, any mineral in the store. You go to a health food store, buy a bottle of potassium.
Eat the whole thing.
A little potassium pills, drink the whole bottle, you'll die. Have a heart attack right then. Anything in a bottle of salt. Get a whole bag of salt and take it down, you'll die. Oh, you get really, really fat. You're like blown up. And terrible other side effects. So you want to take the right doses of things. The things in your health food store are such moderate little doses, otherwise they would really be out of there. And there's certain things, when I go into the store, and they're my sponsors tonight, they brought me here. They carry these products that I endorse, and they also have many other wonderful products. And I love health food stores. You know, my mother's has a bookstore, and so I was an author. And my dad sold health foods, and I also now sell health foods. So it's kind of like mom and dad together here on stage. I'm just making a lot of money doing it. My mom was very proud of me. She had this little bookstore when I was growing up, and when I became this famous author, she built another wing onto the side of her bookstore. And at that time, in 1997, I had over 200 products, all Mars Venus products. You know, I have 18 books. I got videotapes of everyone. I got workshops on this and that. I was very prolific in my younger years. Now I'm relaxed. Very busy. But she had it all there, and she never told anybody that I was her son.
Wow.
She would always just say, oh, you need this. Anyway. So what I just took is Vital Elements. This is what a product that I think everybody should be taking. I think it's $25. Is that what it costs? Something like that? I don't know. But it's somewhere in that range. And you could even take one instead of two a day and make it last 2 months. Or if you're under stress, you take 2. If you're under a lot of stress, you take 4. And if you don't feel calm and relaxed, then take 6. You're still not going to overdose unless you drink the whole bottle. Okay, so you don't do that. 6, beyond 6, you don't need any more minerals. If it's not making you feel better, it's something else. What else could it be? Not enough omega-3 in your diet. Omega-3 is a major stress reducer. That would be in your fish, like salmon and so forth. You get great salmon up here. And did you know that in history for thousands of years, if you look at where all the intelligence grew and tends to develop to the evolution, it's always when people are eating fish. Because for the development of the brain, you need the fat that's in fish. Now you can also get that through algae. So there's vegetarian algae products that have the omega-3. But I've seen people take tons of omega-3, like the studies go, nothing happens if they don't have the minerals. The minerals are so critical because any good thing you put in your body, if you don't have the minerals to activate the enzyme to do it, then it doesn't do it. So what I tried to do is get back to what are the most simple